Well, I gotta tell you, Danny. I mean, it's basically the same thing as chess. You have to have a strategy and
Okay.
don't get checkmated. Okay,
Okay.
just go into it, have your strategy. You stick with your strategy, and don't. There's so many different ways you can go wrong.
So it's on the way back up today. All right. So knight takes c6, b takes c6. Bishop d3 is a line that I've basically played to kind of like throw different people off. You can also play. You can also, as I said, so e5, queen e7, queen e2. This is the main line. Knight d5, c4, bishop a6, and then and knight to b6 is also a move. But if we weren't going to be playing a bunch of Mises theory, then what you did with after bishop d3, this is a line that I basically started playing as like a trap and blitz because a lot of people don't know exactly what to do against this line and gets like all kinds of crazy attacks. So basically just part of bullet and blitz is playing openings that you're comfortable with the plans and not necessarily the best theoretical line, right?
Well, why? I guess I mean, it's been a long time since I played this game. I don't know, when did we play this? Like 2016 or something? I don't even remember.
I had let me pull it up. I had the let's see, the link was what is the details of our game? We played it in 2016. Yeah, December 14th.
I guess, but even looking at it today, I don't really fully understand why bishop c5 is a blunder, or not a blunder, an inaccuracy, because that's what I played, and the score went from basically even 0.0 to you having a slight edge, right? I mean, you're up about a pawn by the valuation, so I guess I don't understand why this is an inaccuracy.
Well, the main reason is pretty much what happened with e5 because the threat after so put it this way. So in the Scotch, what you've done so far is mainline theory, right? So we're all good. And the reason the reason white would normally play e5 is because what I said, the pawn is vulnerable, and if I play knight c3, you have bishop b4. So often white will play e5, but the risk of me expanding the center before having developed is you're able to play queen e7 and force me into a spot, that creates a little bit of dysfunction. So bishop b3 is saying, I'm not going to play the most aggressive move. I'm going to make sure that I have the ability to get castled so that e5 is now a much stronger threat. And bishop c5 basically just neglects that e5 is a threat because once this move comes in, the structure kind of permanently favors white for a long-term kingside attack. And that's basically what happened in the game. So you're not losing on bishop c5. It's just that e5 is a structural threat in the Scotch because what I've gotten out of opening the center early is the potential to have a kingside majority on especially launched with a move like e5. So I'm kind of getting a little philosophical here, but why do we? Every opening has its reasons, right? Every opening has its goals. Every opening has its structural ideas. The idea of like the Lopez is not to break the tension in the center, but to consistently build on it. Eventually the battle of the dark squares commences with c3 and d4. The Scotch is a little bit more of like a direct way for white to use that one tempo advantage you have in an opening. The risk of it is that it also opens up the dark squares, and if you do accurately put pressure on the center, maybe it's a little premature for white to have played d4. But because I've made this trade, if you allow me to get e5, it's always a strategic threat in the Scotch, and it's one of the things that black has to look out for. So basically what you did sort of neglects the idea that e5 is coming. And on that note, what is the best move? The best move for black is to strike in the center here so that now on e5 you can play knight to g4 and your knight is protected. This is the main idea. And then the main line goes like castles, bishop to c5.
Well, I guess I'll ask a question really quick. If I go knight d5, or if I go knight g4 here, before you castle, if you go h3, do I just bring the knight back to like h6 or something? Is that the idea?
Well, here you're
I guess I
threatening
just
to take
take it. Yeah, I guess
here you're threatening to take.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And
but if I take it, do you then like pin? I guess you don't really pin me because I just moved the queen there, and so even that, like, I can just safely move out and then.
Yep.
Okay, I got it. Or I guess I would take with the bishop. All right, that makes sense.
Yeah. No, and we can actually see anyone who's tuning in. This analysis was from running a game report. I did it before. If you're just tuning in, first of all, apologies again that my stream died, but I think we're okay now. Secondly, this is Ben Cohen. We're just going to call him CryptoChamps God. CryptoChamps God. That's who he is. Also OG on chess.com, and this is a game that he and I played back in 2016 during a Bullet Brawls video that I was doing.
So 3 years before I started my YouTube channel.
3 years before you started your YouTube channel, before crypto was a thing in 2016.
Well, so crypto was a thing. It's just that it wasn't nearly as popular.
Yeah, it wasn't the thing. Right now, we'll call it the thing. Right?
Yeah, really. I mean, yeah, like there was a major bubble in 2011, a bubble in 2013, a major bubble in 2017, and now again we have a pretty big move by Bitcoin over the last about last year or so that's gotten so many more people interested.
Yeah, and then obviously in the spotlight, all the time these days, and here we are with CryptoChamps, an event for anyone who's just tuning in, maybe on Ben's channel or here, for a lot of the major players in the cryptocurrency industry playing a chess tournament. So, all right, so again, the strategic goal of the Scotch in trading the dark square pawns is to create these opportunities to be a little more aggressive. It's an attacking player's opening. And so when you allow it, that's where the eval bar basically goes and favors white. Again, if you had this exact position again, d5 is the best move, and e5 is it actually is the main line, but it's not a threat because I have to defend the pawn. And when I defend the pawn, and you play bishop to c5 and I castle, and you play queen e7, this is the best move. White plays bishop f4, and now the best move for black is to play the move g5. And
yeah, I would never have played that.
Yeah, it's again, this is why I kind of play this bishop d3 line, especially in Blitz and Bullet, because I've even played lines like this where I retreat and people play the best move, which is that they can take the pawn, and they still get themselves in trouble in a lot of Blitz games. So, now you have to play the move f6, and things are just a little spicy. But I would say that the line with bishop d3, if you play it like all stockfish best moves, is actually a forced draw. I have the whole thing like worked out. So why do I play dubious openings as white that are forced draws? Because I'm a bad chess player. But that's what I played. All right. So you allowed e5. Queen e7, and this is the problem, right? Is you can't take this pawn because of rook e1. So that's why the position...
And I also can't move the knight to g4 because the bishop doesn't protect it yet.
Right, exactly. So the lack of playing d5 causes multiple problems. You can't play knight to g4. You can't take the pawn. So here you play knight to d5. I played a3. Kind of like a high-class flexible move, I guess. I mean, I don't even know what I was trying to do. It was Bullet. I think I'm just preparing to expand on the queen side and pointing out that you still can't take the pawn because of rook e1, right?
Right.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to remember. Like, I think my focus was probably to maybe, I don't know if I did I end up pulling the bishop out to like b6 or b7 or anything, or?
You played d6? Which, I'm wondering if I'm looking at this. There must have been some way for me to get an advantage faster. We'll see what the computer said. The problem is, like, if you don't play d6, then e5 is just like a launching pad toward, like, a huge attack, right? Like, I'm going to play f4 eventually, and maybe f5. But even if I just play f4 to reinforce the center and bring a knight to e4, which can come over here... This is like a Scotch player's dream, to have we'll call it the catalyst on e5, and you can't take it, right? So d6 is not a bad move. It's super spicy because I'm like, what's going on here, right? Like, but you actually get away with it. And
yeah, I'm curious, like, why. I mean, I guess I just moved the bishop to e6 to block.
Yeah, if I play this, you just have bishop e6 and you're fine.
Right. I mean, I guess I'm eyeing the f2 square, like saying, okay, well, that's a little bit weak for you. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, white's still a little better. I mean, we can see from both the analysis
so.
and whatever. But I mean, it's it's a game, and I think d6 was a good move. I played c4, and then b4, bishop d4, rook a2. I don't know if I had it to do over again that I could have made any better moves here. Oh, okay, wow. Obviously, right as I say that. I obviously had a much better move in this position, which was bishop takes h7, and then just winning the bishop.
Oh, you win the bishop, right? Yeah. Because even if Because even if I take it, you still wouldn't, or right, yeah, like even if you go, sorry, here and I take, then you. No, actually, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, you just leave it here.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I guess that was my missed opportunity according to the analysis. I played bishop g5 instead of taking the bishop with bishop takes h7. So h6 was played.
Right. And then you go back.
And then you played queen to b7, which the computer didn't like. I mean, obviously, we're not going to sit here and try to remember why we played moves in 2016.
Yeah, it was like 5 years ago.
but I think it's a logical move. I mean, it unpins the knight, right, where you're a little bit stuck. And the thing about these positions, again, even with my missed opportunity of bishop takes h7 to win the bishop, I mean, there's so much easier to play white. Like, queen f3, I can bring the rook over, I can bring my knight to d2 and e4, and, like, you've got a couple pawn weaknesses here, and, you know, some trickiness to figure out over here. I think it's awkward, and I definitely should have taken the pawn. I'm not dismissing that was, you know, a better move, but that's why you play queen b7, because it's kind of a hard position for black.
Right.
Like, for example, you can't play bishop g4 because this just loses a piece to common tactics where you take the knight first, and then in the end, I've won a piece with both queens hanging. So it's hard to be black here, harder to be black than it is to be white. So queen b7, knight d2, king h8 was a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure why I played that move. Again, it was like 5 years ago. Yeah, I don't really know. I don't really have a good explanation for that one. I mean, maybe my goal, maybe like what I was thinking was like maybe the goal was to, you know, open this. I guess it's not.
Play
like
I don't. Like G5,
yeah, like I guess if it's your move, like let me go forward one move. Maybe the plan was to go here, and then maybe you do that, and then I mean, then this pawn's hanging, but maybe I was thinking about like opening this and maybe moving the rook here, like moving the rook to g8 and trying to launch some type of attack on this side of the board. I guess that's probably what I was thinking.
Yeah, well, that's actually what happened with knight f3. You played bishop g4, which was fine. This is funny. According to the computer, I missed like kind of a subtle, very fast win. If I played bishop c2 to attack the bishop, no matter where you move the bishop or defend it, I play the move like queen d3, and it's actually almost impossible to stop h7 threats.
Oh, yeah.
Which is like
even if I move here, then you just take the knight.
Yeah, exactly. And it's hard to stop me from taking the knight anyway. So okay, I missed that. Bishop c2 was a win. I played h3 instead. Takes. You played knight d7, and that's where the piece fell. I had queen e4, double attack, and the rest was kind of game over after that. So,
yeah, after that.
This is funny though. So again, like I want to tell the story again because we have some viewers tuning in, and after the stream crash, and hi to everybody on Ben's YouTube. So we launched CryptoChamps. Ben Cohen accepts our invitation, reaches out for some chess, and he's like, "Yeah, Danny, I played you like 5 years ago," and I'm like, "What?" Sends me the game, and so tell everybody a little more like now for the chess viewers on my channel. Like, why did you this is what we do to start. This has been a unique start to the show because you and I have this history together that I didn't even know we had. But normally I ask everybody to say, like, hey, like, what's your history with chess? How'd you learn how to play? Like, what makes you excited about playing CryptoChamps and whatever, right? So tell everybody a little bit about what your chess level and experience is and what you're doing these days.
Yeah, I learned about chess when I was in second grade. And I didn't really take it seriously. I mean, I just played my brother, and I'd always just play my brother. I have a twin brother, actually.
Okay, well.
So I would always just play him. I'm married to a triplet, by the way. So,
really?
But I would always just play my brother, and then I got into middle school, and I remember my 7th grade teacher was like he was pretty good at chess. Like by chess standards, he wasn't good at chess, but like, by middle school kids standards, he was really good. And so like I worked really hard to beat him, and I finally was able to beat him like a couple times before the end of the year. And then I don't think anyone would be as surprised on my channel to hear that I was in fact the president of the chess club in my high school junior year. And I wasn't like, I wouldn't say like I was that great. Like I think back then I was probably around like maybe 1,300 or so.
Okay.
So like I was probably like better than like the average person, like off the street. Like I'd probably beat like the average person. And then in grad school, I decided, I was like, hey, I want to get better than like 1300 or something. So then I studied openings and whatnot for a while, and like I watched your streams. Like I'll watch like the candidates tournament, the World Chess Championship. Like I'm
That's
the type
awesome.
of guy that's just gonna watch like an 8-hour chess tournament all day long, and
You're like a throw chess up in the background while you mine for Bitcoin kind of guy. That's
well, the
like,
funny thing
that's
is,
your
like
jam.
it's not even like I would throw it up in the background. I would just sit there and watch it.
Okay.
like
Yeah.
and try to get better. So then like over the like when I was in grad school, this was what I did. Like maybe 2013, 2014, 20. So I was in grad school from 2013 until 2018. I was doing my PhD in nuclear engineering, and I was like, hey, I want to get better at chess because I like the game.
Because being a rocket scientist isn't hard enough, right? So yeah.
Yeah. So then I was able to get to, I think like I think now I'm around like 1600 or 1700. Like I'm not like super great, but I was at least able to improve upon like where I was. And then like since I started my own YouTube channel focusing on crypto, I haven't really improved as much since 2019. Like I've been right around like like 16, 1700. Somewhere in that area. I think if I play rapid, like I'm a little bit better when I have time to think, but I just don't play many rapid games, like 10-minute games, 15-minute games, 30-minute games. I actually do have, I think like a USCF, is it?
USCF. Yeah.
I do have a rating. I played in I've only played in 3 chess tournaments, and I did it probably around the time that I played you.
Okay.
But I played.
I'm gonna bring up your USCF rating right now while we're talking. So I've got. By the way, everybody, go to YouTube, go subscribe to Ben's channel. But all right, let's do. So we're gonna go look up your USCF.
Yeah,
rating.
look up my I remember I was in one. I played in one tournament in I don't know if you can see where they are, but there was one tournament I played in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and
okay.
I actually did relatively well. Like I think I beat like a 1700 player. I think I beat
is
like
your middle name Jackson?
Yeah, I think I beat like an 1800 player there as well. So I was feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
But then I didn't really play much after that.
Guys, don't everybody click this link and go crash the USCF's website. They can be a little unstable at times. Just kidding. But there you go. There is your boy Ben's USCF history. He's not making any of this up. You did have a good tournament here. Look at this. You played a Blitz tournament in New Mexico.
Let me. Where's the link?
I gave it in your YouTube chat and in my Twitch chat for people who want to go see Benjamin Cohen's. This is fantastic news, actually, and I'm not, not blowing smoke at all in any way, because I think that this means that, I think you are an outside underdog, maybe a black horse to win this thing. So you a black knight, black dark horse. I'm like all tongue tied, but You've got a provisional rating that's super encouraging, especially because here's what I know about Jack. Jack is probably the favorite to win the event. I did a lesson with Mr. Mallers last week, and he just seems like the favorite. But here's the thing: he loves bullet, and when we slowed down with rapid, he was definitely not as strong comparatively to what he's capable of in bullet, right? And I think that one of the things about a rapid time control is it can be awkward for people who want to play faster in Blitz, but then will make more blunders when they have more time because they're not using the time available to them to really think, and their opponents actually have the ability, to take advantage of these blunders, right? So, so that's a good.
I remember. Yeah. In one of those tournaments in Santa Fe, it was like a 30-minute game, I think, or maybe a 45-minute game, and I was playing like an 1800. He was almost 1900, I think.
Wait, which one? I'm gonna go back to the.
It wasn't my last one, but maybe like the second.
It was the Albuquerque Rio Rancho Open.
No, it wasn't that one. It was in Santa Fe.
Ascent Rooks. The Rooks Ascent.
Probably. Yeah, okay. There is like a guy I played. He was like 1900, and he won a piece like out of the opening.
You got third place in this event, man.
Yeah, I was so heartbroken because I drove all the way up to Santa Fe. And like I was doing relatively well, and then I was playing this guy. He was like 1900, and right. I lose a piece out of the opening, and I'm just like about to resign, and I just keep playing, And then at some point, I remember being able to like maneuver my queen or something in a really like in a way that attacked like two different things for him. Like I think maybe it like threatened checkmate, but he also was like dropping a rook. And then I was able to come back and win that game. I was pretty happy about that. But that was my last like official rapid game, I think.
Well, before we dive in, the last thing I typically to finish the story full circle, bringing up the CryptoChamps article, right? You've got a lot of the players here. You've got some of the biggest names in your industry, right? Pomp is playing. Daryl Morey, obviously, currently stressed out of his mind about whether the Philadelphia 76ers can make it out of the second round against the Atlanta Hawks. But shout out to you, Daryl. But everybody else, I mean, how well do you know some of the players here? I know, you're obviously peers with them if we're considering, just the crypto space. But anybody you'd be looking forward to beating, or anybody better than others that you'd want to play?
Honestly, like I don't really know a ton of people. Like it's kind of weird. Like I just sort of do my own thing. Like I know them. Like I know them, but I don't think they know me.
Right.
Like Anthony Pompliano. Like he's pretty famous. Like in the crypto world, he's got like a million Twitter followers, and he's like a huge advocate for Bitcoin and talking about like why Bitcoin is going places and whatnot. And like I doubt he knows me, but I definitely know him, so it'll be great if I can play him. I also, of course, I know Peter McCormick. I certainly know who he is, and there's a few other names in here that I definitely recognize. But again, I'm not like super buddy, I guess. With so.
It's okay. I'm not super buddy with anybody in chess either. So we're the same. We're the same. Anyway, so that's cool. No, but all right. Well, so now we have a choice as far as things that we might want to do. Sometimes what we've done is we've jumped right into like some general advice. I've done lessons with different levels of chess player, right, where we did some basic opening advice to make sure that while they were going to practice over the next couple of weeks, they were kind of practicing good openings and not bad openings, some general advice. But I feel like for a guy like you, obviously we're only 72, 96 hours out. Maybe the best thing to do might be to have you play, and I can watch, and we can do some real-time analysis. We could also play each other if you want. We could play some fun time odds games.
We could try that. Like maybe I can play you some, and also maybe play some viewers.
We've got viewers on my channel and yours that I'm sure would want to hop in. So why don't we just play some fun? Why don't we have some bullet rematch? Since I just reminded everybody of this game that you lost, but again, obviously. This was bullet. We can play some blitz. That's a little bit more high quality chess. I think it's fun. It's fun to do some time odds games too, because then you beat me, and everyone cheers.
Sure. Let's play blitz, and then we can.
All right. Let's do. I'm gonna start a game between us. Why don't we play 5-1? You get 5 minutes. I get 1 minute.
Okay. Sure.
All right. So /match. Did we get you the diamond membership for your new account? I think we did.
Yeah.
It's gonna be 5-0, 5-0, and when we start, I'm going to take time off my clock. All right, so now I have 1 minute. Let me give the game to everybody on Twitch who wants to come follow. It's your move. Can you see it? Can you see it?
Yeah, I'll make a move when you're ready, because I don't want your time to start running before.
Got it. I appreciate that. You're just. I feel like Jack would have just moved and tried to get me to flag. So you are a sweetheart. All right, I'm ready when you are, man. Go for it. All right.
The Sicilian.
And this will actually be not just for fun for any of the viewers watching. This will be useful because we'll play some blitz games that'll be exciting and thrilling and probably close to equal because of the time odds. And then, I'll test some different openings. I won't just play like my main repertoire. We'll test some different openings to see, how you handle different things, which could prove to be useful for the event.
Right. I need to remember that I have a lot more time than you, and I don't need to play so fast. Okay, so... let me see. What are you threatening? You're threatening to go knight c4. So let me move my knight. Where do I want to move it? The issue, I guess, is...
I gave you 30 seconds back as you spotted me 30 seconds at the start, so you're good.
Yeah, I know you want to go here, and there's also this move, but I guess you can't do that. Okay, so let me... I think I'm just gonna... Well, no.
Okay, I gotta play fast. I gotta remember that I don't have a lot of time.
Yeah, I know. This is what I'm counting on. Okay.
All right.
Okay. I know I've misplayed this. I'm just trying to figure out if there's anything I can do to salvage it.
I have to be careful here with what you're doing here. You're getting all tricky with your mating nets. It's crazy. I love it.
I'm trying to.
Man, I love it when you get tricky. Oh, I'm going to... What am I going to do? I'm going to move my king off, give a little bit back.
Okay, so I have some time, so... I think I want to take your bishop. I can win a pawn back by doing so. Yeah, I think I'm going to take that. I just wonder, like, okay, so like if I go queen g7, I just wonder if it's probably not a forced mate, but you take, then I take the knight, or I take with the knight, then you take with the king, then I move rook over. Yeah, it's not a mate. Okay. Okay, maybe I will go here.
Yeah, that's what I thought and what I was a little nervous about. All right.
So
17 seconds. All right. Focus, Dan.
I think I'm gonna pull this one up. So takes. Okay. Yeah. I'm not gonna let you get that mate, I don't think.
Come on. The fans love when people blunder checkmates. That's literally what gave birth to PogChamps.
I think I'm gonna go here. All right, definitely gonna take that. Actually, maybe knight here first, maybe.
Nervous about my clock. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. I can't take the knight because then you'll have check on f. Well, I don't know. Maybe I can take it, but I don't have time.
Boom.
Good game.
I got lucky. I think maybe you could have. I think maybe.
Yeah, I was wondering if I could take the knight, because the only thing I was worried about going here.
Here, I'm gonna.
Or,
I'll
yeah, I was worried
it.
about you taking it, then check, and then I have to go here, and then yeah, I mean maybe, I mean you have this check though.
Hold on, I'm gonna.
Yeah, I don't know, because then you're gonna get that.
I'm gonna bring up an here. I'm gonna invite you to an analysis board with our game. So you're gonna come to this board. I'll give it to the fans in my Twitch chat. A link. So now we can actually. Can you see me moving the pieces on the board now?
Yeah, yeah.
So okay. So first of all, do you face the Night Orf like regularly? Is that a thing?
Yeah, I mean, I like playing the Sicilian, but I prefer it when Black plays the Dragon. That's what I prefer. I prefer when like Black goes like a G6. Bishop G7. I like playing that where I just do a queen or a king side attack, and then you attack.
What you did was the English attack, which is essentially the same structure for White, right? It is a Yugoslav attacking structure to get this particular position against whether it's the Night Orf or a Dragon structure. What you did with White is strategically totally sound and great. Shout out to everybody coming over from the chess.com channel. This is a CryptoChamps lesson. This is Ben Cohen, OG of the chess world, CryptoChamps Sith Lord, as he's been known to be called. Although you'd be a Jedi, I think. All right, so here we go. What you did was great. So there's like nothing to criticize. In fact, I probably didn't play, actually, obviously, what I did was fine. I should play d5, though, here. And one of the ways you punish the knight not being there is to kind of change the structure in the center. So I didn't. Either that or I should play kind of a more traditional English attack, which is, like even here, before castles, Black should be playing b5. And the reason is that, often the threats that you create in the race position is more important than the king safety, particularly for Black. So this is actually in some ways a loss of a tempo. I should be playing like b5 and seeing how well you know the theory to, like if you play g4, there's lines like this where I voluntarily retreat the knight around the b pawn, and the point is you play things like this, and I try to get my assault going on the queen side, faster than just getting castled basically. So that's probably what I'm supposed to be doing. But you were doing great.
Yeah, I'm curious where I went wrong, because it felt a little weird to me. Like my position felt weird when you maneuvered the knight to e5, because I'm like, well, I guess I was a little worried because I thought you were gonna play like e5 and remove the knight, and I was like, well, I don't really know where to put it. I guess I would have had to go knight b3 if you had gone e5. And then, but if like right here, if you go
this
e5,
position, if I go e5 here, you'll definitely put the knight on f5. Like,
oh right, yeah, because I would like to get rid of your dark square bishop in the Sicilian for sure, and that's why I was pretty bummed out when you took when you took it with your knight or whatever. You took mine so that it was harder for me to get your bishop off.
Yeah, and I think you were doing. I mean, we'll see. Okay, so apparently the computer doesn't like that move. If we add the line, what does the computer say your best move is instead of g5? Just be more straightforward with knight g3, king to b1.
I probably should play king b1 just to get out of any future bishop g5 moves pinning the queen and the king.
Well, obviously with the idea that I'm bringing the knight to this square, which is typical in the English attack, like just preparing to not allow me to get what I got in the game, right? It's that simple, right? The fact that I got the knight to c4 and forked your queen and bishop was the biggest problem. So knight to g3 makes a lot of sense. Right. You're sort of like and now if I go here, you have the time to react to this move, right? The fact that I'm threatening knight c4, you could even play a simple move like queen e2.
I should have. Yeah, right? I should have for sure. That's something I should have for sure seen. Because like you playing this and getting that, I know you want to get rid of this because then it makes your dark square bishop even more powerful, and then you can take this piece. Fortunately, I had my pawn here, so you weren't pinning my queen to the king.
Yeah, and I probably got a little too excited. I was looking at my clock and I was like, all right, I got to go for some tactics. But the truth is, like, strategically, I should probably just put the bishop here. And, you're not threatening e5 because obviously...
Right, because then if I take, then you just pin the queen, right?
Yeah. And if you're not going to play e5, like the bishop is better here. Like h6 is just met by g6, and I'm 100% happy to have the bishop.
Right, and that's
diagonal.
why I don't play. Like I don't like playing h6 when I play it. Like if the only time I'll typically play h6 is if I have a pawn on g6 and you don't take it, and then you do something else, then I'll play h6 because then I can I can just completely explode the position.
Well, the way you're talking and the opening repertoire you're describing is you're taking a page out of my book. I like your style, but the English attack and what you're describing as far as the pawn storm is 100% accurate. So really, it was just that you mishandled my threats over here and ultimately allowed the fork on c4. Like that was the blunder.
And I knew that was bad.
But okay, like let's keep going because that said, like I wouldn't be surprised if the eval bar swings. I bet I blundered at some point. Like I had this idea of knight c5, knight a4, knight b2,
that was one reason I put my rook on the
second rank.
On this file over here is because I wanted to move this pawn up and kind of keep an eye on that square with the rook.
So you played rook g4. Oh wow! According to the engine, I could have just played a4 and a3 and given up. I didn't even consider this. What a funny idea. Okay, so forget that. Forget what the computer says. Rook g8 was what the natural thing to do was. I was just defending the pawn. Rook h2, knight c5, rook g2. I played knight a4. But I feel like you probably had something here. I mean, you played c3, and then maybe
there a better
things
move
unraveled.
than
But
c3?
I don't know. I mean, queen to c1 is really your only other option to guard mate.
Yeah.
You could also play queen d4 and trade queens, but no, I think this is fine.
Or I could have played knight d4, right? That would also accomplish defending mate and then but kind of keeping the attack going on the
but the only problem with that is like you're not threatening anything. You're no longer threatening to take here,
right?
Because I have enough defenders, so it's a hard move to play. Black can play, I can just play like rook e8 or h6 or something to just do something, and so knight d4 is a hard move to play, but all right. I mean, c3, g6, and
I'm curious here though because before I move the knight,
g6 was a mistake by me. Apparently, I should have.
So you played g6, and I wanted to take the pawn, but I was like, all right, well actually, let me see where the rook's gonna go because I was thinking here, well, if I take, then you're gonna take with this pawn.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, well, what if I do this sort of like intermediate move and see where your rook goes? Like, do you put your rook here? Or, I mean, if you put your rook, if you move your rook to g7, I was just like, well, I can just go knight back, right? And and your rook's still under attack. You can't really take it. I mean,
that's a nice tactic.
Yeah. It was like if you go here, then I just take. That was what I was thinking. So that's why I did the intermediate move.
Well, I think the underrated.
Said, I don't want the rook. You take the rook.
The underrated threat of knight h6 though is that you were also threatening rook f2. And I didn't realize how strong that was because now you're threatening knight takes f7 check.
Right.
I didn't realize how strong that was, to be honest.
So I played knight h6. You played this.
Yeah,
what was the better move here for you?
I took. Well, I think just g6 was bad. I think I should have. I should take here, and I guess the main point is that if you take, I can take. Because the problem is rook takes allows c2 check and I win.
All right. Yeah,
and so if knight takes, it's much slower. So I don't know.
Well, if knight takes, you could also couldn't here. If knight takes, you just go rook g8.
Right. Or in worst case scenario, I could still play c2, because if you don't take with your rook, I win, and if you do take with your rook, I win the knight.
What if I guess if I just go king c1, you still just take.
Yeah, just take b2, yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize how strong this was here. Obviously, I had like 11 seconds or something, and you did a really good job.
I had 5 times the amount of time that you had.
No, but at this one, we were both under a minute. I'm just saying it was practically a bullet game at this point, so it's hard for us to keep analyzing. But I think big picture lesson, because we want to get to some other games, is part of my job, and this is just to pretend to be your coach for a week before you play the event, as I'll say, opening repertoire passes. You got a good system against the Sicilians. Just by the way you talk about the language of developing the attack, Like, to me, I won't even play the Sicilian against you again to test you. I'll play e5 and just to help you get ready for the event. I think you know exactly what you're doing on the white side of these positions, and the overall blunder was just mistiming your pawn storm versus taking care of my threats, and that was reflected in what actually happened when I got knight c4. So basically, the big picture takeaway is, you know, it was blitz. You miscalculated the timing of my threat versus your pawn storm.
Yeah,
it's that simple. So
if it were a rapid game, like, I would definitely make sure to not give away my dark squared bishop so easily. But here, I mean, like, like at this point though, like, once you take the bishop, my dark squared bishop is lost. There's nothing I can do about it, because no matter what piece I take it with, you still have knight c4, right? I mean, there's nothing I can do to avoid it. So I mean, I guess that was the mistake. I still feel like at the end I probably, I mean, like, I think I just screwed up somewhere, because it felt like I had something. I don't know. I mean, here, I guess at the very end when you played this, it went really far south. I guess here when I played, so I did this move because I wanted to take the knight, and I was like, it looks like I'm taking the knight is zeros. I'm guessing that's the best move. Yeah, but I guess I was worried about this move.
Yeah, it's hard to do this, though. I mean, this is like...
Yeah, because I was like, okay, I go here, and then you take there, and then I maybe take the pawn, and then you take this piece. I guess this is just
a draw.
A draw, yeah. Because I go here, and I mean, I guess we mop up each other's pawns and whatnot, and it really doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, I would say, like, obviously easier said than done, but as like a general practical piece of advice, don't ever like trust a stronger player or be afraid of it, right? I think if you don't see the mate in blitz, you should just go for it. Or especially I'll clarify, not necessarily in blitz where you still have time, but in a time scramble. I mean, I would just say that I was sort of bluffing because I had also lost the thread by not taking earlier, and the position had become a mess. Obviously, this feels super dangerous for you, but I think that if you don't see the mate, I would take it and then make me prove it, right? And I think
was there anything else? So, like, if I take it, I guess I just wasn't sure, because I mean, here, what if I guess I go here. I mean, because you could theoretically, I guess you have to take with the rook, because otherwise I'm just up a rook, right? You basically have to take with the rook. Because I was thinking, like, well, what if you go here? But then at that point, I'm just completely winning, I guess, by bringing my queen over and just crashing through on this side. Actually, no, because then I win your other rook, because then I just go here, right? Actually, what do you do here? You guys go there. Is this? I guess this is just. Is this mate? Yeah, I guess this is just mate. Oh wait, not this one.
Yeah, you would be mating me in that line.
Here, okay, yeah.
But hold on.
And then that.
Hold on. So what? You're talking about queen a4 here, and then queen f1, king up, takes. Are we looking at the same position?
No. I was thinking. Okay, so I knew that you were going to win the rook back, because you were going to, like, okay, so this is what I saw. I saw you going here, me going here, and I was like, all right, well, you have to take with the rook, because you need to win the piece back, because if you don't win the piece back, then you're just down a clean rook. But I was thinking, like, if you take the pawn trying to get another queen, I do win, because then I have this check right here, and there's no way for you to defend it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, good stuff. I mean, you calculated really well. Your Sicilian passes. A lot of chatters in my stream maybe want to play you. I'm telling them to go to chess.com and then let me know your username. But let's play one more. Another one, me and you. I'm white.
Sure.
Actually, no. Let's play one more where I'm black again, and I'll just play something different.
You'll play e5 or something.
Yeah, and just to help make sure that it feels like you're on the strong path. And so let's do it again, and I'll be ready right away. BJ Cohen, Daniel Rensch, and let's see, /B time. Oops. All right, you can move as soon as you're ready. So, all right. We'll see what your repertoire is. Interesting. I wonder if this is something you normally do or what the deal is.
I mean, I'm not gonna trade, but there is part of me that just wants to like trade because I'm like, you know, the more the if I get your pieces off the board, the less tricks you'll have against me.
Yeah, but I mean, play your repertoire as you would against someone. You know,
Right.
makes it good for us to look at. Twitch
Yeah,
chat.
I don't really want to trade the bishop for the knight because I like my light squared bishop.
If you go to chess.com, the link I gave you, if you follow us, then at some point we're going to start having Ben play viewers, and so you can follow the games there.
So if I go here, take, you can't, okay. I'm just thinking about moving my knight here. Maybe, I guess you take the bishop. Well, if you take the bishop and I take the queen, you take the queen, I take the rook. Then
It's a pretty equal game.
yeah, I'm just trying to calculate this out. So if I go knight e5, you'll go bishop. Maybe you just move it. Maybe you just take it. Then take. No, that doesn't work because then you win the queen, and then the bishop's hanging at the end from your other bishops. Okay, that doesn't work actually. All right. Let me. I'll just play. Maybe just bring this back. Okay, I don't really want you to take that pawn. Actually, yeah. So if I don't take the bishop, let's see. I think queen here. You go here. Then I move queen here. You have to move back. Then I take the bishop. Then you're in check. I think that works out for me, but I could be wrong. But I don't really care. I'm gonna try it anyways.
No, you did the right thing.
Okay. All right.
I was playing too fast. I should have played bishop g6. Still really tricky though. Oop.
Okay, I'd like to. I mean, you're gonna take that pawn, whatever. I'm just gonna take that.
No, it was no good for me.
All right. Kind of want to move my knight so that my queen is defending g3. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna block the rook from coming down. Here.
You are playing super well. That's frustrating. Repeating moves.
I don't really want to. I guess I don't really want to trade.
I don't have any way out of my checks. You got me, dude. I have no time.
All right, double check.
Nice. Dude, that was great. I just absolutely blundered on knight g5.
Sweet. No, I mean, for the
I just,
record, if you're watching, I had 5 times the amount of time that Danny
I
had
was
during that game.
I was playing fast. I just miscalculated, and bishop g6 is my only move here on move. Well, I guess I'll analyze it so we both have the same board real quick. Let me invite you over.
While you're pulling that, all right, let me just quickly. I gotta quickly look at the price of Bitcoin. It's been over an hour.
Really?
All right. Are you into crypto, by the way, Danny?
I'm gonna watch your stream while you do that, so I know exactly what it's like to be a part of a crypto stream. So
are you into crypto at all?
I mean, I am currently not invested in any crypto. I will say that.
Okay. Well, I gotta tell you, Danny. I mean, it's basically the same thing as chess. You have to have a strategy and don't get checkmated. Okay. Just go into it. Have your strategy. You stick with your strategy. And don't. There's so many different ways you can go wrong.
So it's on the way back up today, it seems.
It is, but hey, we don't get out of bed for 10% moves over here. It's more it's more like looking at the macro scale and realizing that hey, Bitcoin goes up, Bitcoin goes down, but it mainly goes up, right? And that's the key thing to remember for people that get worried about what's going on with Bitcoin, right? It goes down. Who cares, right? Who cares? It mainly goes up, and that's the important thing.
What has Bitcoin peaked at historically? I mean, obviously, I know that I've been following a little bit of the fall that has been the Elon Musk controversy, but what was it at? What was the peak?
It hit 64.8, 64,800 or so. But yeah, I mean, it went up 20x in about 15 months, which I mean isn't really that unheard of for Bitcoin. Just so you know, like the 4-year ROI on Bitcoin buying at any time and holding it for at least 4 years has almost always resulted in a 10x on your investment. I don't think that will stay that way forever because of diminishing returns and whatnot, and it's going to be harder to push the market cap up. But the key thing with Bitcoin is just you have to stick with the strategy. Unlike Bullet, time is not on our side, but with Bitcoin, time is on our side, and so it's just staying with the strategy and kind of ignoring the noise. No one likes waking up to your portfolio down 50%, but Bitcoin has stood the test of time. This is over a decade here, right? This is a decade of data.
Chris McKay describes checkmate in your chat as leverage and buying more than you can afford to lose equals checkmate.
Right. Yeah, so don't do that. I would say it's generally not a good idea to short Bitcoin. Like, don't bet against the king of crypto. I think a regular dollar cost average.
What do you predict that it'll level out at? During this sort of volatile.
Honestly, that's a good question. I mean, like there's a lot of people that will try to predict short-term moves. I'm not generally one of them. Like I feel like predicting short-term moves is really, really difficult. I look more at like the macro scale and trying to figure out like is it a better time now? Like, is it an okay time now? And right now, I would say we're sort of in no man's land. Okay. Like up here is generally a good time to sell Bitcoin. Down here is generally a good time to buy Bitcoin. In the middle, it's kind of like no man's land. I don't really know what the best thing to do is. I can say that Bitcoin's down like 45% or so from the all-time high.
Right.
There's buying Bitcoin when it's down 45% is at least not the worst time to buy Bitcoin, right? It's not the worst time. The worst time would have been when it was over here at 64K.
Right.
My general thinking is that I don't know how long it's going to take us to recover, and trend back up. But I still remain very bullish on Bitcoin for the next couple of years, for sure. And I think we will push to 6 figures within the next 1 to 2 years as well.
Got it.
A lot of people, we can get back to chess in a minute. A lot of people think it's going to go to it's going to explode this year and go to several $100,000. I'm a little bit more conservative on that. Like, I think, hey, we need some time. We need some time. But you should know that El Salvador just made Bitcoin legal tender.
Yep. I knew all about that, especially because Jack was literally on my stream after he was in El Salvador, and while we didn't get into it on the during the chess lesson precisely, what his purpose was there, although he kind of alluded to it when we were off stream, and obviously within a few days it was announced, and so that was super exciting news for the entire
Right.
crypto space, right? Making history, first legal tender of a country, first
Yeah,
time,
pretty cool.
stability.
Anyways, that's what people on my channel like to like to focus on is that, and
a lot of people giving me advice.
when
They're telling me it's too early to get in. I'm not in. I'm not planning on getting in at this time, and I've got 4 kids, and not as much liquidity as I would like to say in terms of financially. But I think it's interesting. I think a lot of people just suffer from lack of knowledge and fear of the unknown, and obviously there's just so much circulating consistent. The volatility has been very real for those from the outside looking in, right? And maybe a guy like you's like, actually no, this has been pretty predictable, both from like a fundamental and technical analysis point of view as far as the trend lines. But then things happen, right, that are sort of swan events, like what happened in 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden the the negative PR campaign is like real, right, for Bitcoin, and they're putting out fires, so to speak. So it's very interesting for people from the outside looking in. I can tell you from my view, Anyway, so that's good to hear you talk about that.
One perspective to look at it too is like Bitcoin's down 40-something%,
right?
But 15 months ago it was trading for like $3,800. So it's down, but it's still up 10x from where it was just over a year ago. And so that there is a lot of negative volatility. I will grant you that, and that's typically what scares people off. But the people that stick around are typically the people that do the best. Like the ones that stick through it are the ones that do the best.
Yeah, for sure, and I think that's probably the right strategy anyway. As long as you don't do what your boy Chris McKay said, right? Over leverage yourself, and then you're checkmated, right? Makes a lot of sense. So shout out to John in my chat. Welcome everybody. This is Ben Cohen. If you have just joined, go to the YouTube stream and give Ben a sub. If you're into crypto at all, which if you're watching this for the chess analysis, then you may not be, but if you're into the crypto space at all, Ben is interesting follow there. So he's also an interesting chess player because he just kicked my ass with this game with knight g5. People in my chat were like, "Yeah, Danny, we were wondering why you allowed queen takes h7." The answer is I just blundered. It was that simple. I was practically pre-moving, looking at my time, and then I just bishop to g6, and black is still obviously better, and I think the issue here, I think for you, so regardless of how this ended, I actually think this was a worse start in terms of the opening for you than like the Sicilian game. And I think I did want to clarify for your games, like c3 here is probably a bit of a bogus move order in the Italian. If you're playing so the position I got in the game was like very equal for black, but the other thing is like, are you prepared to play the lines where if I just like take the pawn, or
basically my point was I don't care about the pawn. I'm going to sacrifice the pawn to get ahead in development was my idea.
Okay, and again, that's a very E4 style attitude in game, right? That's romantic chess right there, as they call it, right? You're playing for the pawn sack, but typically if you're going to do that in this move order, I would actually say d4 is the more accurate way to go about that. And part of the reason is that the thing about playing this variation of the Italian is whether I take it or not, the real sacrifice that this move makes is not even to the pawn in the center, it's to your own development on the queen side. So, the second best thing I could do, which I also didn't do instead of taking, is like, I can already consider immediate ways to play d5, and these structures are like black is equalizing very quickly out of the opening once they get d5. And that's what I did after solid move. I played bishop e7, d4 takes, and now d5. And the point is, this is like, a very standard position where black has countered the romantic style game of white with this early Italian extension. And white has an isolated pawn.
Right.
And black is dead equal out of the opening, like, as the evaluation of the computer settles, it'll just be 100% zeros. It's just, a 50-50 position where white's advantage is kind of gone. And again, I don't even know that I couldn't just play the sharpest lines and just go take this pawn on move 4.
So if you do that, first of all, like my point was I'm just gonna sacrifice the pawn, try to get some development here. Play a little risky, right? I invest in crypto. I'm risky, right? But basically, that was the idea. Was, hey, like if you do take it, then if you take, I don't know what you would do here. Maybe if you do this, then I just try to get developed as quickly as I can, and just say, hey, now I have to prove to you.
But again, a key idea is you kind of want to get d5 before I can get d5. And
okay.
This is a key point. But so what I'm trying to give is like the philosophical takeaway, because the X's and O's can change, and depending on how much you get in opening theory, like the point is c3 itself is a move that causes development issues for white as well. It's not just an aggressive idea, and the main thing is that if you allow me to get d5, like in those positions, black is just totally solid, and I've equalized everything about the development lead in the center. So it's almost like we're saying we're sacrificing a pawn for a lead in development, but who's like who's up in development here? Right?
I guess you are would be
like,
at this point.
And so again, I think that's sometimes the misconception where in against a not always accurate move order from our opponent, we feel like we're getting really aggressive attacking games. But the truth is, if black knows this is the philosophical punch to strike back, then like c3. So there's a reason why like a lot of the best players in the world will play c3, but like they'll either do it with castles first, or even d3, which is the slower sort of Italian you would play. You just eliminate all those lines, and you keep quick development options open on the queen side, and you might eventually play for c3 and d4. So if I was go ahead.
Yeah, so normally, so recently I have been playing c3 just because I kind of like, I guess for whatever reason I kind of like, but a lot of times like I would just play something like, I would, if you're going here, then I would just play this opening as well. But yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, that like, I guess the point here is that if I go here,
where? If you go c3 or d3?
Sorry, if I go c3 and you just take the pawn, and then I go to this point, if I go up to attack here, and I don't immediately play d5, and I do something different, then you're basically just completely shutting me down.
But again, in this position already, if black knows the move, and it is the top engine recommendation, black has to play d5. And as long as I'm being smart and playing these moves before you can, I'm almost always equalizing in these gambits. And
but here though, okay, so you play it right away, right? Yeah, you play it right away. Okay.
Again, and by the way, shout out to my boy Robert Hess, Grandmaster Robert Hess just sent about 500 viewers over to our show, so welcome everybody. And
I've watched Robert like for more hours than I care.
I feel like anyone who says they've watched chess streams has watched Robert more hours than they would care to admit.
Yeah, no, I've watched him. Yeah, like in grad school I watched so many. I really liked the speed chess championships. Because you guys, I used to watch those all, like when you do the speed chess championships with like all the major GMs like Hikaru, Wesley. I know you still. I mean, now you guys have like the Title Tuesday stuff, which I basically watch every. I actually just tuned into Hikaru's stream on Twitch yesterday to watch him, to basically watch him.
Well, Robert, I don't know how he finished, but someone let me know how my boy Hess did today. Robert made the knockout, I think, in Arena Kings. So we have Title Tuesday on Tuesdays and then Arena Kings on Wednesdays, and it's a 2-hour streaming event, but it always ends with super high quality chess because the top players make a knockout and then they basically play a knockout to decide the winner. So wait, Robert won? Wait.
No, Hikaru. I was watching Hikaru yesterday, and he won Title Tuesday.
No, I'm asking about today, just because a whole bunch of people came in from the show. He made the knockout. Hans beat Hess. Okay, all right. Sorry. Yeah. So anyway, Title Tuesday's awesome, and anyway, I guess my point is this: like, I think that I'm not disagreeing. So that's where like we want to like level setting conversation. I'm not disagreeing with like the intention or the ideals behind what can potentially be in a, we'll call it the romantic style openings of a sacrifice of a pawn to the center for a lead development. But as I think a lot of the knowledge of these approaches has evolved, where black is very cognizant of the fact that as long as they get d5, they are typically equalizing all the other dynamics of development. Whether they go for the pawn or not, d5 is the strategic strike. It's the goal, and so.
No, I mean, this is something I'm honestly like, this lesson is good because I've never, like, this is great because now I know that, hey, if I play this, I got to be aware of d5 because it completely kills anything I had.
Yeah, and so I didn't go for the sharpest lines, and because I kind of wanted to see, but even with what we did, where I just played this and d5, again, if we just take a step back, Like, this is not, the sexiest position you want, because black is equal in terms of development. You're strapped with the isolated queen pawn. It's a game, right? And you actually went on to win this game, as we saw, right? So again, I'm unlike the previous game in the Sicilian, where I actually think you were off to a great start, and that's exactly the kind of opening I would endorse for all your future as me forcing myself to be your chess coach today. I'm approving your openings there, and I'm saying, hey, here, take a step back and really look at it, because as much as we love to fall in love with the sexy idea that we're going to be checkmating our opponents with these crazy attacking openings, it's just not the reality against a well-prepared player who just understands that if they get d5, all of those ideas are usually and again, yeah, if I go knight e4 and you play d4, like d5 again already. I mean, we analyzed takes. Even takes is actually not what I should play, because here, if I take, there might be the crazy ideas where you castle, and if I get d5 now, maybe you have like rook e1 stuff. I don't even know.
Yeah, rook e1, pin the knight, you take the bishop.
So even here, like if I was playing black and I would just play d5 now. Like, I'm not even going to look to take any more pawns. And all of these lines are exactly what black wants, because as long as I had the discipline to not go full, what are all those games we've all seen in the years where black just like gets blown off the board? It's things like this that happen, and we get checkmated with bishop f, and again, d5 is just a move that, regardless
but also,
of
But also my rating, like, I'm more likely to play people, I think, that are not going to necessarily know all the precise theory, and maybe that's why it works out for me, sometimes, is because I'm not playing 2,000 rated players or what. Like, I imagine I could only get away with these types of openings for so long if my rating goes up.
No, 100%, and I think obviously the goal here, and I'm definitely a little bit of a buzzkill when it comes to my approach with my students. I was never somebody who taught a lot of my students, super wild gambits, and not to say that it wasn't, obviously the mindset of playing with the initiative and then also balancing how to defend against an opponent's initiative are very useful muscles that a chess player needs to build, right? So it wasn't like I didn't dive into those things, but I was always more of the, like, I believe there's like black and white, truth and lies on the chessboard, and I'm always advising on, like, look, like, play the position based on what the best move is, and even if we're going to go for these lines, we have to be aware that we're going to have some games where a stronger opponent knows exactly what to do, and that's why c3 has its drawbacks, because you're also giving black potentially the initiative, counteracting the whole idea of why we play these lines, which is our sexy initiative we're going to get, right? So just wanted to kind of impart that, and I think with what happened in the game, that's kind of what happened, right? So it was very equal, isolated queen pawn. Maybe I should even be a little more disciplined here and actually just defend the knight.
Honestly, here I was happy you took the knight, because I'm like, all right, like, that works for me. Because again, like, when I'm playing when I'm playing an international master, I'm like, okay, if I can get some of his pieces off the board, then there's going to be less traps I can probably fall into.
Sorry, I was distracted by my chat. Yeah, no, you're right, and I think knight takes c3 probably wasn't as good of a line as I wanted. Bishop e6 makes more sense, just to sit on the isolated queen pawn. So I kind of helped you out a little bit there, but the position remains pretty equal. And then I guess here, after rook e8, rook e1...
Can you go back really quick? Because there was something I was analyzing. Okay, so at this point here,
after queen d7.
So I was thinking about playing knight e5, but I thought it just was losing. Because I was like, I was thinking, so let's say you ignore the knight, like if you take the bishop and then I take the queen, am I getting out of that okay? But then I get your rook.
Right, but I think in the end I end up probably with a couple pieces for the rook. Like, I can play bishop e2.
But then couldn't I just go rook e1?
Yeah, maybe you do. You do get to d7.
Right, and then I can come back out to e5 with the knight. So I was looking at this.
I do have this, though.
Right, but okay, so then I go maybe bishop d2.
Right, I guess my point is your knight is sort of getting trapped.
Are you going to go b6 here?
Well, I can even go here just because of bishop d2, because I have this at the end.
All right, that's true.
But
but actually, can you go back to that position?
Like here or something.
If you go back to that original position where I played it, so because also, what if you? The other thing I was looking at was if you take it with your knight.
But then I think you have this actually.
But you can.
My bishop is pinned.
Yeah, that was what I was looking at. But then I figured you would just take my bishop with your bishop, and then I offsets the queen, and then you can take it.
No, but you do defend d5 there. I mean, although I have like
That's true.
I have like rook e8. No, it was interesting. You were calculating it, and in the real game, I was sitting there. I was trying to calculate it too, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do because the other option on taking, whether I take with the knight or the bishop, is you just take e5. Sorry, you take h5, and I don't know that that's not even better for you because now you've got the bishop pair, and that's
right.
I think you were on the right.
My plan here too was if you played f6, which probably you wouldn't, I was gonna pull the queen out to b3 or the bishop out to c4.
Give a little check, back up the bishop, even make a no. White's better here.
Yeah.
And I don't even know whether I played the best moves according to the computer, but this is what I would do: check, back up the bishop. This looks fine for you. I think it was okay. I think.
So I pulled the bishop back, right? I pulled the bishop back to h. The reason I did that was because I just wanted to get your dark squared bishop off, and I know it was damaging my pawn structure, but I just decided, hey, like if I can get this dark squared bishop off, then maybe I'll, I don't know, like that was just my general thinking. Is I don't want all these pieces eyeing my king over here, so I moved it to the, then that basically made g3 a weakness for the
bishop g3 was.
It looked like it's still pretty even though.
Yeah, it was. I wonder if here you could have played knight e5 though.
Yeah.
Even here, I don't know. But all right, bishop g3 takes. I think here I should be better, but I got a little bit careless with the tactics. The truth is you played well. I mean, queen d3 threatening knight g5 was a very nice move, and I should have immediately just played bishop g6 instead of flirting with the tactics. And I didn't, and you did a great job finding knight g5 on the next move.
But even here, knight g5, can't you just go bishop g6?
Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying when we first started. If I play bishop g6, black is definitely still better. And that's why the bishop g3 line was probably not ideal. But I think. I think the major takeaway before we got into the tactics is, one, your calculation just in general from a couple games with you, I'll say, like, you do tend to see the board pretty well. 95, you were probably closer to delivering on that line than you realized. Like, 95 might have been a good move. And even with what happened in the game, like, I blundered h7 and you took it and you punished me. So I think that, I will say that, again, doing this in prep for the event, I feel like you're seeing the board pretty well. Your tactics are okay. Again, my advice, and if I was developing a regular relationship with you as a coach, I would definitely push harder on the opening and say, hey, like we definitely need to go away from c3 as the move order there. But you understand my points, and I think it's a risk to anytime you're playing a strategically dubious approach based on the fact that your level of competition doesn't normally react to it. It's not something you want. It's not a road you want to keep traveling down because it builds bad habits. It's not really setting you on the right foot, especially if you just play the main lines, white's just a little better, right? So I think that over time you can adjust your opening repertoire to my advice that I was giving you. But for now, I think what you're doing is okay. And I would say if you do get in some serious games at CryptoChamps, against some decent players, depending on whether you're paired up, if you're playing like on one of the high rated players, I would be aware of the reason the main lines are d3 and castles, and that c3 is potentially dubious if they know what to do.
Or I could also play knight c3
for sure. But again, I would argue don't go you don't have to go the full way. There's a reason that players play d3 and castles. It's precisely because of the lack of commitment to c3, because you have both options open. You can still play this, and you can slow jam a more traditional Italian idea, which kind of goes into like a Spanish game with the bishop here, where you play for c3 and d4. So I would actually say don't go all the way away from it. And if you like it, also play this way, because even this is better. If you want to go for those lines, even this is a better way to be really aggressive if you want. And again, precisely because you still have the knight on c3, there's all kinds of lines there. I don't know if you know the lines, but if you go for this, now on rook e1 d5, you have this line with bishop d5 and knight c3, which is, again, because you didn't play pawn c3, you're in some of the sharper variations.
Oh yeah, I didn't know this line actually.
Yeah, this is. I mean, okay, it's.
I played. So could you go back 2 moves? Because I've played this opening before. Right here, yeah. So a lot of people, I played this opening before. A lot of people play d5 against me, and honestly, a lot of times I just pull the bishop. I either put the bishop on b5, or maybe I pull it back to like b3 or e2 or something. But I guess I don't even know that.
Well, now you know.
That takes was a possibility here. But
well,
yeah, I see that it is because the knight can go to c3, the pawn's pinned, and then you double attack the knight.
Yeah. Well, good. Then I'm glad. I was only throwing that line out at the end as your adopted chess coach here to show you the advantages of keeping the c3 square flexible. That is one of the main lines.
Yeah, no, that's great.
But instead, we just improved your opening repertoire. Good for us.
Yeah,
because,
great.
No, this is a key point. So, yeah, so again, let me just summarize. I would say if you want those lines, go for this line with castles. Like, this is the better move order. Keep those options open. Now you even know the concrete variation I just showed you that you didn't know before with the bishop d5 tactic. But even if they don't take the pawn, this is already even here, if you play rook e1, you can go for c3. That's my whole point, is you kept the option open flexibly, and then you can try to go for your plan if that's really what you want.
Did I miss mate at the end at all? Like, did you? I couldn't find one, but I
don't even know. You had me on the run. I didn't see a mate either.
Yeah, I couldn't find one. I mean, the last thing I played was like.
You were totally winning here, and you combined with the edge on the clock, you did great. I mean, you were totally going to win. And knight, I think you actually played the best moves by being strategically wise, relocating the knight to e5.
Well, I put the knight there because I didn't want your knight infiltrating on like the 7th rank.
Yeah, but I was in like full like blitz mode. Like, I mean, a million moves are better here. f6 is better to stop this and attack the queen. Knight c4 is better. I was kind of in
knight c4 stops the knight. Yeah, I moved back because I was like, okay, and then you blocked it, right?
Yeah. This was great for you. Then I offered a queen trade, and you went here, and I realized I was busted. So
I moved the queen to f4 because I was like, okay, well, I can get a double check somehow. But even with the double check, I didn't see like a great discovery here.
No, but you did a good one, and I obviously was dead anyway because this is good enough. You're winning the knight.
Yeah. Well, I guess I could also go. I mean, if I wanted to, I guess I could have gone knight g6 as well if I wanted to win the rook. But
yeah, for sure. So. All right, well, do you want to play someone from chat? I've got some people in my chat who would want to play you. You maybe have some people from your chat, and I can watch and then go over the game against someone else.
They can just they can challenge.
They got to tell me their usernames. I've got someone who said he was about 1800 at Blitz. You're 1660. Does that something you want to play? Chess Pawn 01?
Sure, he'll probably beat me.
Chess Pawn, do you want to play? What was your username again, man? I see you've been.
I'm also getting a lot of challenges right now too.
Okay, I'm sure you're getting a ton of challenges. You're just on chess.com, you mean?
Yeah, on chess.com, I'm getting some challenges. Probably from people that are watching. Normally when I stream chess, people challenge me.
Yeah, I think we've got between oh, okay, the Chess Pawn 01's name is the Immortal Potzer. That's a pretty awesome name. I think he deserves a game, so we'll do that. All right, so I'm going to pair you with the Immortal Potzer. You ready?
Yeah.
The Immortal Potzer, BJ Cohen. BJ Cohen. And we'll do 5-minute again. Is that good?
Sure.
You got to go in like 20 minutes, right? That's what we got.
No, I can stay for longer.
Okay, here we go. You are now playing the Immortal Potzer.
1820. I'm not used to playing 1800s. Let's see.
All right, I'm going to turn off all things evaluation mode. All right, here we go. The Immortal Potzer is playing a Scotch, a man after my own heart. He's trying to repeat our bullet game, BJ.
Yeah, no.
Don't let him do that.
I think I'm just going to go here. I don't know. For some reason, this move looks weird to me, but maybe it's a fine move. Let me just go pull it back. Okay. Obviously, I don't want the queen coming here. Maybe I'll pull the knight here. I don't really like doing this because I'm moving the same piece twice, but I'm gonna do it anyways. Yeah, okay, so he pulls the bishop back. I think I'm just gonna just pull the knight out. I'm guessing he'll go here. Or castle, or that. So what's he doing? Yeah. I think I want to go. I guess it's okay if I talk, 'cause I'm just talking to myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I might go here, because I don't really want to get into this thing where he's teaming up on my knight. But, well, could just move the bishop. Yeah, I know you're not, well, I know you're not supposed to do it, but I'm going to do it.
It's a good game. It's a close game. You're down a little bit on time.
Yeah. I mean, I know moving, like, the pawn's not the best move. I'm just trying to, like, I'm just looking at this knight coming in, the bishop coming here. I mean, I don't want to completely destroy the pawn structure over there.
Yeah.
Maybe I could have just gone c6 as well. Okay, so this move, if he's threatening to come in here, I don't really want to move this pawn because then he can just come in. So I think I'm just going to ignore it and castle.
I'm only trying not to say too much because you guys are playing a good game. Don't want to interrupt it, you know?
Yeah, I'm just... Trying to figure out where to move the bishop. I mean, there's not a ton of great options, but I think I'm just going to move it here for now. He moves back.
Main thing just... Yeah. Main thing, remember, is it's Blitz, so trust your instincts, right? For both players. I think Immortal Potzer is aware of the time.
Yeah, I probably should play faster. But, Danny, it's hard to play quickly when Bitcoin's flirting with a 20-day SMA. I mean, what am I supposed to do here?
Hey, dude. I feel you, man. I was just going to say that.
This is rough. I mean, look at it. Now it's at 36,659.
Yeah, I don't even know.
If it goes to 37K, I might as well just resign.
Do you do the same thing, as far as how closely you follow Bitcoin and the content you create? Do you do the same thing for other cryptocurrencies, or are you mainly a Bitcoin guy?
Oh no, I do the same thing with other ones.
Yeah.
Other coins are riskier, for sure, but if you're careful, that you can make, there's more downside risk with other coins like Ethereum, Chainlink, Cardano, Polkadot. There's more downside risk to them.
Right.
But they also can give you pretty impressive returns if you're careful, like,
if you're day trading.
not if you're day trading. Basically, if you're just sitting on them, getting a decent position. So I'm trying to figure out here. So this, um, I think I don't know. I like my knight here, but the bishop's a bad bishop. I don't really know what the bishop's gonna do. But I don't really want to. I guess I'll just trade this. Probably not a good move, but okay. So
Yeah, we'll analyze it afterwards for sure.
Yeah, so yeah, I could take it. I think I'm just gonna go here and maybe try to go after this pawn, but no, they're not gonna let me. All right, come back.
It's exciting. It's a close game. This is a good. This is a good matchup. It's also good for me to see your openings.
I need to play faster. Bitcoin's at 36.7, Danny. It's important. 36.718.
I'm not going to go day trading. Although at one point I was looking into, developing some technical analysis skills, which really required to make decisions based on volatility, right? To short.
I mean, honestly though, with Bitcoin, like the people that tend to win the most are just the people that don't day trade. It's just the people that just regularly buy a little bit of it and kind of just forget about it.
Right. A roulette wheel can also give you returns, right? That's what someone in my chat just said. All right, this is going to be a good finish. Let you focus in the time scramble.
Yeah, I need to play that. Oh, yeah, I just lose.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
But it's not over if you can find the right move. There's still some tricks here.
Yeah, there's check that he just takes. Let me see. Here. I gotta play quickly. I'm almost about to lose on time.
The time scramble is real. Oh, wow. What a finish. Oh, wow. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Got a little bit tough for both of you guys there in the end, but overall, that was a very high quality game by both of you and Chess Pawn 01.
I was just looking, I guess he blundered, and then it was just a matter of me playing faster, I think.
Here, I'll invite you to the analysis board and everyone else.
I can just click analyze here, right?
Well, I come to my board just because then.
All right.
Now we're sharing it.
Let me just, because I wanted to look at a few different places. Okay, so I had a slight advantage. I don't know that was the best move taking. Like maybe I should just keep the tension there. I was curious though. So I rerouted the knight because I wanted to get to this square to take the bishop. Like I wanted to take his light squared bishop, but then by the time I got there, I was like, I feel like my knight. I mean, this would be an interesting question. Like, was it right for me to keep the knight because I feel like the bishop's not really doing anything. I mean, even if it goes here, it's not really doing anything that useful. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to.
to me, I just decided to keep the knight because I didn't really see what he was, like his bishop didn't really seem.
Sorry, I was trying to invite people to the board, but for some reason there's a weird setting and it's not letting people in. So I will ignore that. And
so I was
okay.
looking at this position. So
Yeah,
okay, so basically my knight was here. I wanted to reroute it here because he moved the queen.
Yeah, this
I was like,
is
all right, I'm gonna reroute it
point.
here.
Yep.
But my point to reroute it there was to go after this bishop. But then by the time I had the chance to, I was like, I don't even know if that it makes sense to take it. Like, would you have kept your knight?
No, first of all, great opening. And I just for the interest of building on your own chess, I just want to say that this classical Scotch is great. You should definitely consider continue to play this. Just remember, if they play the knight takes c6 line, the best move is queen f6 first, intermezzo, threatening checkmate.
Oh, okay, good point.
This is very important because otherwise, if you don't do that, you don't want to take with the d pawn and trade queens into a bad endgame with the 4-on-3.
But I could take with the b pawn, right? Which is what I did against you 5 years ago.
Yes, but now you're in a slightly worse structure where white has the advantage that we've talked about, which is a positional edge in a lot of these scotches. So again, this move order, the key move is intermezzo queen f6.
What about this move? What if he goes here? What if he goes bishop e3? Because this is something I've faced before, and I'm not sure what the best move here is. I mean, I guess I can look it up.
Queen f6.
Okay, so it's just the same.
And depending on where it goes, the simplest approach is to put the bishop back on b6 for safety.
Okay.
So
yeah, I mean that was.
And
that
again,
was more.
I want to get into all your questions about this specific game because I think that moment you brought me to with the knight on e5 is critical. But before we do, I want to say again, if you face the Scotch, this is good. What you did was good. If they play the main line classical, you need to remember to play queen f6. And the main line goes queen d2, and now you can take with the d pawn without worrying about the queen trade, and you're looking for a very rapid development. Bishop e6, rook d8, that's how you're playing this position as black. Knight
Can I
e7,
also just take with the queen, or no?
Castles. Take it with the queen is just worse because you're not valuing the right things here. You want to get developed and attack white for having a dubious development. Taking with the queen saves the double pawns, but actually, you're not gaining any advantages. Strategically, now we prefer white structure again because white has a pawn in the center and you don't.
Okay.
So no, d takes c6 is the key, and that's why we play queen f6 first with this little intermezzo trick.
Okay, that makes sense.
So that's the key move for next time you play this. Bishop e3 is the other line, like we said, and queen f6 again is the main move. Obviously, don't blunder knight f6 because now you lose a piece. We take with tempo and then we win.
Right.
But as long as you remember queen f6, then you're fine. And what Immortal Potzer did.
Knight b3. I just pulled the bishop back.
Yeah,
Yep,
this is the main line and very good. Knight e5 is kind of a weird move, but then again, so is bishop c4. The main move for white here is just to play knight to c3.
Okay.
And, often... So a lot of strong players have played this line, even recently. In Blitz and Rapid, we've even seen Magnus throw his hand in the ring of knight to b3 in this position. So this is sort of a slightly popular line for white, but often emphasizing the queen side here is sort of the key, and white might develop with like the bishop out or even queen e2 and bishop e3 and look to castle long. So bishop to c4 is just a little bit awkward. That said, your move's a little awkward, and then he backs up. You play here. I think the main thing here after knight c3, d6, and h3 is probably if I'm Immortal Potzer's coach and not yours here, the first move I criticize of him is this move here with knight to d4. Bishop c4 was weird, but inducing the knight to e5 is not bad as long as he has the right idea in mind, which is this move. Knight d4 I think was just a little weird. I think you should just castle, put the king on h1. Put the king on h1 and play f4.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like it probably doesn't make the most sense. But the reason I played it knight there is because I was like, well, where is his bishop going to go? He's going to have to move his bishop again if he doesn't want to lose it.
Right.
And I was also thinking of a move where, okay, so he. Let me see, where did he? Am I looking at the right board?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so he came there. I was also looking at, like, potentially later bringing my knight out this way, which I didn't probably doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So that by moving this knight to that square, it then made this knight be able to go to this square if I needed to.
Again, I think the main thing about the knight on e5 is it's a target to White's plan in this pawn structure. What is White's plan? To play e4 and f4. So you gain a tempo, he loses a tempo, but if White expands with this, you're gonna lose the tempo right back. And I think if I was playing White here, even like, man, it's risky to do it with the king here and with the bishop on the diagonal, but I just want to get f4 as soon as I can. So that's why I would love to castle and try to play f4 here rather than
I guess I wasn't too concerned about f4 because I was just looking. I was like, well, f4 is going to permanently weaken his king.
Yeah, exactly. Well, especially if he's not castled, right?
Right.
And but I already said I think ideally in this structure, White is actually playing knight c3 here before, and then developing the bishop out and playing queen d2 and castles long. And these are the most challenging lines. Like, this is how the main line theory goes. And so already we're in a little bit of like unique territory with kind of the different tempos being lost by both sides. But the main point is I think White loses the thread by not going for something like this, and just putting the king here and just trying to play f4. This is usually where White gets an edge. You can also play like a4 here sometimes, and you try to go after the bishop, like a5 like this, and White still goes for like a slow plan, and this pawn in insertion in the overall position can be a little bit better for White. This is like sort of long-term space advantage down the road with the b7 pawn being backward. But all right, so the main thing is I just wanted to give you a little bit of advice overall on the opening before we get to the specifics of the game. Because remember, whenever you're going over a game, like, you should take the time to, like, if it's not a coach like me, like, look at the opening explorer, like, see where you left the most popular roads, even if you don't have someone to tell you why the main move is more popular than yours. A little bit of context to appreciate, what did Magnus Carlsen play when he had this position? What did Jan Nepomniachtchi play, who's a regular Scotch player? Like, if you take the time to do that, a little bit of that knowledge will build muscles over time, right? And you start to try to play the moves that are more common, and maybe even teach yourself, okay, it seems like this idea does this, and maybe that's why it's more common, right? Just because we don't always have a coach.
Right.
So that would be, I always try to take the time to just give a little bit of advice on where the opening could have gone. And again, especially on this, make sure you play. That was the main takeaway I wanted you to have. If you play this, because you might face the Scotch in CryptoChamps, and if they play the main line, remember this little intermezzo. So, okay. All right, so back to this, knight d4 castles. Now let's get to that critical position, because indeed, and for you, Chess Pawn 01 and Immortal Pots are in the chat, if you were going to play knight d4, I was sure your plan in doing this was to play knight f5. So going here to play knight f3 was a little awkward. I don't think it makes sense to have brought the knight, on such a journey like this back to f3. I think that going to f5 is interesting, because you challenge the bishop pair. Are they going to take and double your pawns and give up the bishop pair? Maybe. Or even like leave the knight there and play king h1 first and again go back to f4. So bringing the knight to f3 was a little awkward. But I think your plan here, Ben, was very good. Rook e8, bishop c6. This is like knight d7 was a great move, and you played it really quickly. So I like your instincts. And if I was just stopping right here and just looking at where we've come in the first 15 moves, black is better for sure. And
here you
have exactly. Here you thought for a while, but I think you have a very key move, and I want to give you a chance to find it the second time around. So your knowledge was your intuition was correct, which is like,
to not take the bishop was my intuition. So I'm assuming not. I'm assuming I shouldn't take the bishop. I'm assuming I.
Yep.
Yeah, I think what I did do, I took the bishop with my bishop, which I kind of knew was not the right move. Let me think for a second here.
It's based on the fact that what I mean by your instincts were correct. Like, the knight is strong on e5. Your bishops are ideally placed where they currently stand, right? And I think what you underestimate is that actually the dubious sort of the current position of these pieces actually has some tactical consequences if you find the right way to put pressure, which is you've got all these pieces sort of primed. And you actually have two more pieces that are primed to join the fight, who you didn't really realize.
Is queen h4 a move?
So queen h4 is a good candidate move. Queen f6 is a good candidate move. One of the other pieces I was referring to is the rook, but none of those moves are actually the move that I'm looking for here.
Okay,
Although queen f6 is a good one, but there's an even better move.
I mean, like, I don't think this is the right move. I thought about, yeah, I think leaving the bishops where they are probably makes the most sense. I did briefly think about, like, bishop a5, but I don't think that's the right move.
No, yeah, you don't want to go away from the tension there, because remember, if he takes you, he's bringing tension to his own queen. Someone in my chat.
I'm thinking about the fact that the rook is sort of extraying the queen. If there, if the file's opened up, that could be a liability.
Everything you're saying is 100% correct. So now it's just executing.
Is it f5?
Yep, great move. And the point is, all of white's pieces are just like totally tied down here.
Right.
And so, like, to just show like one obvious tactical consequence, if they try to open everything up in the end, you're just winning on the spot.
Right, I win the queen because they're in check, and
taking the pawn without taking on b6 is hardly better. I mean, okay, to be honest, I didn't even evaluate the position past this because they have triple pawns. Their bishop is pinned to the queen, and I just I don't know, queen h4.
Right.
This game is
yeah. I kept looking at bringing the queen out, and I was trying to wait for the opportune time to do it.
So I'm suggesting this is a very strong move. It builds on the strategic way I'm trying to get you to realize all the strengths of your position. But I don't have the engine on. I'm not looking for the But this is if we're just evaluating chess calculation advice and how we build on it. When you've got a position where one way to gather the criteria is who's in control of the trade, meaning. Does making the trade give him more options? Does taking b6 increase the power of his pieces? And you realize no, he's not threatening to change the position in any way. And when those are the cases, that's when we should be building up the pressure on the dam, right? We're the water banging against the dam, and we shouldn't be looking to open a door and let the water go somewhere. Don't make any sort of trade. Just build on it, right? In f5, right. Queen f6 is also a way to do that. Maybe a little bit less strong. You do threaten double pawns.
I did look at queen f6 mainly because I was thinking about playing queen f6, and then my idea was to go queen g6, and then if he ever moves the queen, I can take the bishop.
That's also a very strong plan. Just queen f6, queen g6, and that's another example of building on the tension. So when you own the tension, meaning there is no version of the trade that that makes his position better. Then the last thing you want to do is simplify the position and to make those trades. And obviously in Blitz, it's hard when we feel like we're ready to cash in, but there is no cash in. And we just need to remember in those cases, there's probably a way to increase pressure if you just expand the candidate moves you're considering. So the main mistake you made, and I was listening to your thought process live, you were totally right about the evaluation. Knight is way better than the bishop. You were totally right. That you were even saying this is probably unnecessary, but you didn't see the concrete move, and it's partly because I think you got locked into considering candidate moves of these two pieces and didn't really give the other candidate moves their full due. And
if I go f5, could he play like bishop h5? I mean, I guess maybe it doesn't do anything, but
I mean, he could, but again, I would move my rook, or actually, as I think about it, maybe there's something even better. Just everything about this position screams that I want something really nasty. I want to get the queen out.
Right.
But I guess, yeah, even this. It's really hard for me to imagine any trade or opening up of the position that doesn't give black more squares, not white more squares. Although on that note, yeah, I mean, if you're really worried about it, you could play queen h4 first and just keep the tension here alive, right? That's the point, is that f5 is not going anywhere. Even if he takes this, it gives you more squares. Find a move by white that doesn't give black more squares, right? I mean, take here, more squares for black. You're basically. I just wanted you to build on this tension with f5, queen h4, queen f6. That's all. Those are all the moves that are begging to be played here. But again, f5 here. I mean, what if you? I mean, it seems a little spicy, but what if you just play this even?
Right. I mean, he could. I mean, the h6 pawn is hanging, obviously,
right.
But
no, I mean, you're right, and it's a fun. I mean, here you're up a piece, and
right. I'm guessing he could go maybe rook rook e3 and try to swing the rook over too, maybe?
No, you've got. I mean, I think
that's true.
this will be. It's like a desperation sack by white, right? There isn't really much to this attack. I think that black is still in control probably of all the pressure, and I think, like I said, as I was giving Chess Pawn 01 Immortal Posture advice, I think really he lost the thread with this plan of bringing the knight to f3. It was kind of what set up this whole position. And you played a great move, knight d7 again, a great move. The fact that you found it instantly shows really good, just chess, I think, intuition by you. That was a great find, and even better that you found it instantly. But then here it was like I think you knew the momentum was going your way, but you started looking at all the cash in moves instead of the build moves. And even this move again, like maybe I don't even go for the endgame, but exactly your plan of like what does he do here, right? I mean, This is so hard to be white, but I think f5 is a great move because of the immediate threats that it has to take and just start winning, and it's very difficult for him to have any kind of any kind of responses here.
There was that other point too where he forked my rook and knight, and I thought it was over, but I guess I had that one little move to keep it alive.
But this was still good. Rook up, rook f6. I think probably again here for white, he should have taken advantage of the little tempo dance you did with the knight by backing up the bishop and like fix the position, right? Bishops don't belong in front of pawn chains like that, right? And the bishop is just a target. So I would have taken the advantage taken the time to play this and brought the bishop here, and then again probably start looking for f4 as soon as I can.
But at this point, if I go rook g6 and he plays f4, then I have knight.
He needs to play this. Yeah, got to play king h1. But okay, this would have been a game and a much better strategic position for the bishop here than where it currently sat on f3 as a target. So okay, but after that, you guys at this point, not too much more criticism. You guys got under time pressure, and the big moment was right here, where after f4. After f4, you played rook g3, and he has to find the move knight e2 to get the win. That's what I was saying. But it does. I'm pretty sure it does win because at the end of this trade, he takes here, and the knight is trapped.
My knight is trapped. Yeah.
But he has to take. That's why I said it was still tricky. I think that's literally the only forcing sequence is knight e2. He has to play knight f3. You have to play knight e3 check because both pieces are hanging, right?
Right.
But then he has to take with the knight because if he takes with the king, you actually take here, and you're actually winning at the end of the line.
Right.
So
I was fortunate in that instance that he I guess didn't see that.
Right.
Because I didn't see the fork. I mean, I think to some degree I was lucky that rook g3 was even there. Because I mean, if you back up a little bit before the queens were traded. Before the queens were traded, I was sort of right at this position. I was trying to figure out a way to displace his queen from the defense of his knight, and then if I move my knight, I'm attacking his knight with my queen.
Well, you're 100% right. I mean, there's no version. Like I said, I wasn't going to be too critical here because you guys were entering mutual time pressure. I just wanted to show that final tactical sequence with f4. But the truth is, you're right. Trading queens is, I mean, almost any other move is better than queen g5 here. Okay, within reason. I mean, like rook e8. Bring you're still in a position with pressure, with X-ray vision going on here. There's a lot of tactical pressure on squares, and even if we don't have a way to cash in, those sort of things lead to blunders by our opponent if we're just patient.
Right.
And like rook e8's a good move. Maybe it threatens
another
d5.
Another thing too I'm looking at as well is if my knight's not there, if my knight is say on a different square, then the b5 square is available. Even if the knight is defended by the queen because he can't take, because then the rook hangs because the bishop's on d1.
Yep. No, that's what I was just highlighting there. Yeah, you've got tension there. So again, rook e8 would have been a great move. And again, this goes to further highlight kind of the dysfunction that white had with this bishop all game. The bishop here, the knight f3 maneuver and then back. And I think that would be, if I was, again, switching to Chess Pawn 01's advice, because he's here with us in chat, I think that losing sight of your strategic goals in the Scotch, which is proper piece coordination so that you can expand and use your pawn duo. That's kind of what you're trying to do when you make the whole initial trade of the Scotch, which is to create this 4-on-3 majority, even if it's not a traditional 4-on-3 because black has the D pawn, right? So it's not a traditional 4-on-3. It is a 4-on-3 in regards to the middle game. The middle game majority is very real for white, and white just never realized that plan. White spent a lot of time, bouncing around with the pieces and never had optimal coordination. So you were in a great spot. You had a lot of pressure because of it. And so that would be his advice. But for you, I think you only offered the queen trade because you were getting under time pressure and didn't know what to do.
Yeah, basically. I think I didn't have much time here. And then at the very end, we both just started blundering constantly, I think. We just we had like 3 seconds each.
Yeah. Well, it was fun. So a great game. And I think again that so again, this was the last chance here if he had seen 92, but I think he was also now panicking about his time. Right. But then you played well. You played, I mean, honestly, one of the things I've been very encouraged about your chess, regardless of your results in CryptoChamps, I think that when you're trusting your instincts, you seem to be finding good moves and quickly. I mean, 97, F5, like you were on the right track. I think, I've had some advice on your openings and, that calculation tip on, how you mishandled the middle game here, trading on E3 rather than building on that tension. But overall, I think you've had good instincts. And the truth is, in this time scramble, you were better by the end of it, right? I mean, obviously, in fairness to him, he was just trying to flag you, and you were just trying to survive. But it was right here. I looked at the camera for those watching the chat. As soon as he took here, I was like, is he going to find rook takes G2? Because this would have been your only chance to win with you had 7 seconds or something right here. Because if you found this, I mean, now you've got a windmill. Right. So there's obvious things like, move the rook and win the rook.
G3.
But maybe there's something even better. Like if you play a move like,
can't I just, or what if I go in this position, what if I go rook F2 and then I play rook G5?
No,
that hangs the rook. Never mind, that hangs the rook. Yeah, sorry.
That's what I'm saying. So if you had the wherewithal to take and play a move like this might, okay. It actually doesn't work because he has bishop e4 and he's.
So what did I play? Everything. What did I play? Because it would have been nice to get the windmill. What did I play here?
You played. You played rook c to e5. Yeah, you offered a rook trade, and you did get the rook. So obviously the final position was winning for you.
Yeah, but we had 2 seconds here.
Yeah,
so at this
exactly.
Point,
yeah, no judgments either way. I think that it was funny that in the last moment, if you found this, maybe, but I think. The truth is, at this point, you probably didn't have enough time that even if you played things like this, if he plays any moves that don't just get mated, if he doesn't checkmate himself, then probably you didn't quite have enough time to convert. So that was the reality.
Right.
But okay, well that was interesting, and
I guess one threat I need to be a little bit cognizant of from him here. Obviously, my bishop patrols E8, but if he plays bishop G6. Then I'm potentially getting mated if I ever move my bishop off that square to defend E8.
Yeah, it is funny because if you because
I mean my rook defends it now.
This is checkmate if not for bishop E8. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Which is kind of funny. I mean.
Yeah, there's that one thing defending it.
Okay, interesting. Let's see. I don't know how much time I have left. Let me check in with the wifey.
I can always stay on a few minutes longer after you leave and play some people watching my stream if they want to play.
Play some of the peeps. All right, let's do one more with me watching, and then I'll wrap it up. So someone in my chat just said, "I love Ben Cohen."
I just got a challenge from someone over here. I might take someone from my chat since they told me earlier.
Go for it. I'm following you, so go for it. You can play someone. You're welcome, ChessPawn01. Yeah, MSOD92. You might be right. He says that my suggestion of F5 might be slightly frowned upon by computers, but I don't know. I think the whole point of building tension there is the takeaway in the lesson, and so anyway, are you playing your next game?
Yeah.
I just pulled it up so that everyone can follow. I'll see what the computer did actually think, whether f5 was good or not. It does seem to like it, though. Yeah, so f5 is not a bad move for black. Anyway. So, all right. Well, let's continue to follow the next game. BJ Cohen up against Bitzer 4. Do you know who this guy is? Have you ever played him before, or was it just a challenge?
I don't know. I don't. I'm not. I just thought he challenged me. I'm assuming he's following me on my channel. This is a pretty standard game. I feel like I get this position a lot.
Okay, that'll be good then. Good for us to review and give advice. I like hearing that. I like hearing that it's a position you'll play again.
Yeah, I'm looking at a pawn break, maybe f4, so I need to move the knight. Obviously, his knight is pinned, so he can't take my bishop. So I guess he has this move, which I don't really like. I guess he's not really threatening anything there, so I'll just pull back here. I might need to move my king over and then push f4. So I want like some type of pawn storm down the king side.
I turned off the eval just in case your opponent is watching my stream. Don't want him having any advantages against you.
Oh, Danny, Bitcoin's at 36.8K.
Man.
I know you're watching it closer than I am.
Well, just do me a favor. Just go buy some Bitcoin for me. You could do that real quick. And here's the deal. If you buy it for me and it goes up, we'll split the profits at the entry point. And if it goes down, then, you got it.
That seems fair.
That seems like a fair favor.
Yeah. Okay, so now I guess he can't take the bishop because I missed g5. I mean, he's permanently weakening his king. I guess I don't really want to take because I don't really actually have that great of a plan there, so I think I just have to trade. I'm guessing he's going to go knight e7. I mean, or obviously knight b4, but...
Yeah, this could be a wild one, depending on where it goes. I'm excited to see. This guy, last guy was about 100 points higher rated. This guy's about 100 points lower rated.
So here, I kind of, well...
I'm going to go grab some water. You're doing great. Everyone in my chat, don't go anywhere. I'm watching you.
Yeah, I know you could take a pawn, but I don't really care about that right now. Feels like, I just am sort of crashing through. I mean, because this is a threat. He can't take, because the pawn is pinned. I guess he goes king here. That is not a move I expected. Maybe queen here. No, not hangs the queen because of the knight. Okay, so maybe, I mean, I could still go knight here, I guess. And then he moves it, and then what? I guess I don't really have anything after that. Maybe I'll just displace the knight. I guess we'll take maybe he'll go after the bishop. Maybe he'll go here and give me a check and go after the bishop. Yeah, I mean, I know that I can check him, but I'm not seeing the follow-up. Like, I mean, he just goes there. So now he's attacking that. But actually now, this move I don't think makes, to me, I'm not seeing it, because now I can just go here, and then I just win the knight, because I have this intermediate move of check. So I have this intermediate move, and now I just take the knight. And actually, I have something, well, yeah. So I guess he'll get the knight, unfortunately, because I could go here, but he unfortunately defends it. I guess I just have to take. Now he takes, and then I have to be careful, actually, because if I go here, I think he wins my queen with the rook move. We can't have that. So I think what I might actually do is I might go here and just sort of let that sit. Yeah, the problem with taking the here, I feel like that just wins the queen, doesn't it? Unless I'm missing something. Now if he takes, like, now if I go here, then I take that, which probably doesn't want to do. Maybe he takes. Maybe not.
No increment. There's no increment, chat.
So in this position, maybe threaten the queen. I'm just trying to see if there's a way I could win the queen without losing mine. I don't think so. I'm a little worried here, actually. I might be losing. He's going to double up here. I guess I can go check. Which at least saves this square for now.
Yeah, it was a key move.
Okay, I gotta play fast. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna lose on time probably because I'm not very good at.
Do you normally play with increment or no increment?
Me, I normally play with no increment. Yeah, I'm just gonna lose on time.
Allie.
Yeah. I'm not. Well, I don't normally talk through my moves, I guess, which is why I'm playing slower.
Well, you're doing great. You're doing a great job. And
I'm trying to do what I see the chess streamers do, where they like. It's really hard to like, because I feel like if you just sit there and watch someone play chess and they're not talking, it's just like super boring, you know. So I'm trying to talk about what I'm thinking.
I think you're doing a great job, and honestly, and I think it's chess is hard, right? In case nobody got the memo, and you're talking through your thought process, which is tricky. Let's analyze it again. I'm going to invite you to the board.
So here, like I moved.
Let me invite you.
Sure.
Okay, so we can go back to the beginning.
Yeah. So it was a pretty normal.
Yeah. By the way, good job on the Italian. I like what you did. You played D3.
Yeah.
Way to go! You took my advice.
I mean, I do play that one a decent amount.
Okay.
Sometimes I just get a little dubious.
Little frisky.
Yeah.
Dubious. Is it because on a day where Bitcoin's going up, you get a little too frisky for your own good?
Yeah. I mean, look at Bitcoin. It's almost at 37K. So. Yeah.
Okay. So you got a little. Okay, but this is all good. Jokes aside, even here. Again, for future reference, C3 is also a move, right? The flexible, it does multiple things. Prepares D4, but it also prepares B4 and A4 and A5. It also keeps the options open of a more traditional kind of like Spanish game, not just with D4, but the ideas of knight D2 and rook E1 and knight F1, where the knight comes into E3 and maybe into one of these squares. So I'm reminding you of your options to mix it up. Right? What you did was fine. Knight C3, knight D5, takes, rook to B8, and then knight D2 was a little bit odd.
Yeah, the reason I did it was because I wanted to play F4.
Yeah, I think in this particular structure with the bishop outside the pawn chain, that's going to be hard. And as you saw, knight D2 actually invited G5, which pretty much made sure you were never going to get F4.
Right,
and I think, despite where this game went, I know you ultimately had an attack. I actually think that this particular position is strategically very strong for Black. It's like a what's this famous game? I'm forgetting to quote. It's this is an easy thing to underestimate because there's a lot of subconscious like bias we have as a chess player looking at these positions. You don't think someone's going to move their pawn around their king and advance in such a way, right? But if the position can't be opened up and the king is safe, the grip on the dark squares is actually very strong. And I'm forgetting the famous game that I'm not quoting where where white just lost because the bishop basically never regained the battle again because of exactly this type of strategic strike when white didn't see it coming. So, long story short, I think I remember you were married to F4 because you were giving your thought process out loud, but I don't think it was necessary here. I actually think this is better. And right. Again, it threatens B4, which is another reason it's nice and flexible. It prepares D4. And here, this move would now probably be met by this, I think. This type of thing would be... This is exactly the consequence of having your bishop outside the pawn chain. Right. Because okay, now you'll play King H1 and F4, and you just can't stop it. Yeah, then I'll definitely be playing it, because
then I want to do the rook left, too.
Yeah, exactly. So... And the only question is whether he would have something like this, but if I'm calculating, I think you could even take and go here, where you pin the pawn, he has to save the knight, and this is L no go. This is not good. So this is not good. The main thing I want to say is don't underestimate the flexibility of this. Knight D2 was awkward. I actually really liked his position here if he had played knight to E7. Knight D4 was just the wrong route to take.
Yeah, I thought knight E7 was the best move there. I think I was going to play C4 in that position. Would that have been the appropriate response? That's what I would have played if he had played knight E7.
It's impossible, but maybe he just plays F5. I don't know. I actually think knight E4 might be the best thing to do. Okay. And then probably the smart thing to do is bishop B6 because this check is really nothing. I mean, he just kind of plays a little tickle, and in the end, you're not gaining anything. Here comes F5, F4. The knight's coming to G. Like if you play this, I just like knight G6. Your knight's hanging F5. I mean, this just is like ugh.
Right.
The main thing I want to say is like everything about White's position has suddenly become very dependent on you getting something tactically here before Black can consolidate. Because if Black gets like, one improved square and one more like of a coordinating move, and you haven't done anything, this position is just so good for Black, and this bishop is just not gonna be rejoining the game. This is
Right.
yeah, and even like, okay, 97, someone in chat suggesting this, but even here, like, just king g7, like, okay, you play h4, like, I go here. Maybe I even have better things with knight f5, I don't know. I mean, I'm threatening this. But the point is, like, this is not enough. And if you take, I can take with the queen or the pawn. And this is, again, like, take a snapshot of this in your brain. Like, I always joke, the face camera. Don't forget this. Like, this is not good because, yes, there are always specific exceptions to every rule in chess and life, right? I'm not arguing that if White has a specific way to get in a position like this and you pop a pony on f5, then White isn't just winning, okay? But you can't get that here, and outside of concrete exceptions that the computers are best at reminding us as human chess players who rely on our abstract thinking and our philosophies to make decisions, like, other than the concrete exceptions, what I'm telling you is not wrong. Like, this is a strategically busted position for White, especially when the bishop is outside the pawn chain, because you can't change the structure in a way that you would need to.
And the rook's coming to h8, right?
100%.
Yeah.
So again, there are, in fact, I was just doing a lesson with Bobby Logic, the rapper, who visited me. We were hanging out, and we had a game that was just like this, and he streams regularly these days and he played in our last PodChamps. But I was just giving this exact lesson on really imparting how biased we can be in underestimating this shot, and suddenly you're in like basically what your opponent gets up and a grandmaster sits down, you lose this game every time because strategically it's too busted, it's too slow. Like, okay, again, exceptions would be you're getting surgical on the light squares and I don't have time to recover. Maybe if you have c3 and d4 like right away, like if you can force it open, that can be an exception too. But other than that, like, don't take for granted how much of an advantage Black has here.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean,
anyway.
I think I got somewhat lucky that I was able to at least somewhat get out of it for a while, and then I just got low on time, and yeah.
But then you got knight e4 with tempo, which is even better because he played this move knight here,
Right.
and then queen h5. But again, if he doesn't play king h7 and g4, even like this, again, just like point out, like you go h4. I mean, I want to get away with knight f5. I want to get away with f5. I think I can get away with all of them. But I'll just do this one because it makes the most sense. Like, okay, maybe you can take and I'm wrong. I take e4. You take h6. There's no reason for me to allow that. I guess I really just want to prove the point that, like, I'll go here. Take and take.
Right.
Like, I'm threatening to take here. And I'm threatening rook h8. I guess you could take with the knight. Actually, you're tactically holding on barely. Are you? Maybe you are.
I'm not.
Maybe you're not even. I don't even know.
It's lost. This position's lost for White.
I mean,
I'm looking at the evaluation bar on my screen.
Okay, I'm not. So I'm just analyzing
like,
it.
Yeah, it was
even
like right
this,
here.
Even this, right? Like, look, like this is proving my point strategically because I don't have the computer in front of me. I was using it earlier, but I decided it was making me a worse chess coach, so I turned it off to be a better chess coach for you. Just because, again, like, because I know I'm right about these principles, and the engine will help us do a little bit of a gut check later. But the point is, even f6 proves my point because this is like, now if I even just get the queens off the board, right? How do you change this structure? The bishop is locked in. Like, this is a really valuable lesson to make this mistake of this whole knight d5 plan you did, taking for granted what was coming, especially with knight d2. So it's a very good lesson. I'm glad it happened. And again, the advice I was giving earlier, c3 is a little more flexible. Even, even later on, probably striving for this faster would have been better than going for queen h5. To be honest, like c3 and d4 is probably your last like chance, fast way to just mix it up. Like you got to change the crippling that is happening here. And okay, but you did a good job mixing it up. He played G4, which was a spicy kind of idea. He was pointing out that if you take, he has F5, I guess. But C3, F5, and what a weird game, right? What a weird game. This was fun to look at.
Before, if you go back one move, it's like I wanted to take with the pawn.
Yeah, no, you were right. You had calculated accurately. This would have lost.
Yeah, so I was thinking like, well, if I take his pawn, then he can never take, like, and
yeah.
So
no, and I think you were doing. You missed one chance. I'll show you your one chance to put it away, which was after takes, DE, takes, and this position, your move is bishop F6. And
I see that now. Bishop F6 would have been
And now you can take or take first. Either way, your queen is trapped. But the point is, you have this intermezzo that bishop F6 played, and you're up the exchange, and then you can play G3 and king G2, and no problems. It's kind of important you do play that, because if you allow G3, the game may not be so clear.
Right. Yeah, because I can never. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if he plays G3, then I think I.
If he gets this, you could be in trouble.
Right.
Or it's probably close to equal again, depending on how it goes. But anyway, so bishop F6 was your one chance. You played queen G5, and I think your instincts were correct that you probably should lose it. If he takes here and just doesn't rush the H file, this looks very bad for you.
So I think he definitely would have just handily won on the board if he had taken the pawn. But yeah, he didn't take the pawn. Then because he moved the rook, which honestly, like, I think if I had been in his position there, I probably would have also gone like rook H5, if I'm being honest, just to gain a tempo on the bishop. Yeah. But fortunately for me, the move of the bishop protects or guards H8, because if he gets rook H8, then it's over immediately.
Yep. Yep. No, you did good, but your last chance here was to play G3 again, because he can't play rook H8 now, which saves the day. If he could play rook H8, you're mated. But G3 would have stopped G3 by him, and now when he's sort of slow playing, you get rook H1 in time.
Right.
So he panicked on A4 or played the Blitz move, which is very common. Like, your opponent makes a move and you react, but G3 I think is just probably lights out.
Right. Yeah, because I guess I could give back the exchange, but he might not even take here, right? Like,
I mean, if he plays this and you go here, like, I mean, he can even play this move to really add insult to injury, and you're just like frozen. I mean, you try to get a discover check, he takes your bishop.
Yeah, I kept looking at that. I kept wanting to play E6, but like the bishop was just hanging, and that was the only thing protecting H8.
Yeah, no, I mean, his next moves are like F4, and like, I mean, if you don't do something drastic, he's still mating you. So yes, the game really got complicated when this opportunity was there. But to be fair, again, we're painting a picture here like he was winning in the end. You were the one who was winning first if you had found bishop F6 and the exchange thing, But but I would still say the most valuable strategic lesson from this game, the takeaway for sure, was what happened with G5, and being able to evaluate that in future games will make you a better chess player, because like you said, you're going to get positions like this again, and that always gets me excited when I'm giving someone advice in a position that will probably be applicable to many games to come. Yeah, so then he does eventually find G3. Again, once you got A5, you could have played G3 one more time, and you're okay. But once he got G3, you were in trouble, and yes, you only ultimately lost because of time, but it was it just got a little sloppy here, right? I mean, like, he could have taken here and all kinds of stuff, but it.
Yeah, I knew. Yeah, I was just losing on stuff because I think at this point, actually, go back a move, or maybe two moves. Here it's saying, okay, right. So I'll go forward.
Yeah.
Here it's saying that white is up, which is interesting.
Yeah,
I
think it is right here because he missed taking D4. And the main thing is he can't play rook H4 because you're here. So yeah.
What did he play here?
He played rook H2.
Yeah, now it's saying white is up almost up 3.6. So I'm just curious what's the move that I missed.
I bet it's rook B3. I don't have the engine, but try rook B3. I bet rook B3 is the move.
Yeah. The evaluation just goes up. So yeah, it's rook B3. I guess the idea is I'm crashing in on B7 and then the bishop. Yeah, the bishop.
Yeah, rook B3. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, once you defended the pawn, you were winning but again, you were under time pressure, so. Okay, well, this is fun. And, Okay, rook to d3, and whatever happened here is sort of irrelevant. But all right, man. Well, I won't see you again until Crypto Champs is happening, and I'm commentating on Sunday. Hopefully you're in the championship section on Sunday. It's going to depend on what goes down on Saturday with the pairings.
I'm moving across country on Monday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So this is exciting, and I think you're definitely a dark horse potential for. And I'm not just saying that. I think that you're doing a lot of things well. Your intuition is usually spot on. I think if you I would say if you can avoid time pressure, but just the fact that you have increment, the 5 seconds added onto your clock with every move is going to be a big equalizer for you in some of these time scrambles. So, like I think there are a couple stronger players Matt Huang is probably about 1,700 strength roughly. Although Ben Feingold, who did a lesson with him, said he thought he was maybe closer to 15 or 1,600 strength. And then Jack Jack's a strong player. Daryl's right in the middle of the pack too, and I think you're right there. I mean, from what I'm seeing here, I can definitely see a top 5 just going in as far as how I look at it. And then it's a game, it's a tournament, right? That's why the game is played. None of you guys are super GMs, which is a good thing because anybody can win, whoever's playing well,
Right.
So.
Well, you'll be happy to know that Bitcoin is now above 37K.
Well, that's the only reason I did this stream was to.
You're welcome. About that, so
you're welcome, Bitcoin community. I brought the positive vibes, and that's why. Let me see the chart. Let's go back to your stream one more time.
Yeah,
before we go
got it right here. Like Bitcoin's at 37.129 right now.
I'm bringing up. I don't see it yet. I got to get to the end. Oops. No, back to your live stream. There it is.
Yeah, you see we're at 37,144.
Man.
You'll be happy to know that we have, during the last, if we go to the hourly here, you can see that Bitcoin has been slowly trending up.
Slowly trending. That was my nickname in high school. Slowly trending. Love it. So when you look at the candlesticks there, do you make, if you were someone who was in the business of making calls and puts, the short and long game that can be day traders, if we're talking making the options comparison to traditional stocks, right? You would anticipate another fall. What's going to happen here, if I was drawing on your screen, I would say the camel's hump, it's going to go up a little bit. It's going to level out at this next green line. We're going to see another small dip, and then we're going to see probably 3 or 4 more bars to go up. And again, like you can track just like based on the technical pattern of the chart, unless something happens, probably we're going to see it start to level out there, and then maybe even find a little bit of another jump at some point.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't even attempt to know what's going to happen in the short term. I just Bitcoin is so volatile, and when you're going short, going long or stuff, like it's a good way for people to lose their crypto, because they can get liquidated, and the opportunity cost on getting liquidated from your Bitcoin is really high if we're going to be deterministic and say Bitcoin's going to go to 100K one day.
Yep.
So yeah, right now I think we're more or less just playing in the sandbox. Bitcoin's at 37K, but no one in the crypto world is going to get out of bed for a $37,000 Bitcoin when it was trading at like 64K a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
You might. I don't trade things. You might look at like downtrend, see if it can get above that level. Stuff like that. And we on my channel we look more at like data science, that type of stuff, like looking at things a little bit like on longer time frames, and noting that, like for instance, like before Bitcoin's bullish, we need to get back above this little band here. So once we're back up here, then I'll be bullish. Until then we're slightly bearish actually. So right now we're still slightly bearish, but you can see that every time Bitcoin goes on these crazy runs, everyone says, oh well, this time is different. But in terms of say the extension from the 20-week SMA, it's still generally turning down from one cycle to another. So I look more at these like macro scale moves and focus on like getting in when it's bearish and then sort of riding it up when it's bullish.
Right, it makes sense.
So.
All right, man.
But, hey,
I would raid you if you were on Twitch. You said you're going to keep doing a little bit.
I do have a Twitch account. I was watching Aman the other day.
Yeah.
on Twitch. I sometimes watch those guys. But I don't actually like stream from Twitch or anything. I just do it.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. If I was able to raid a YouTube live channel from a Twitch channel, I would, but I can't. So instead, I'm just gonna tell all of my viewers to go over and subscribe to Ben's channel. I already subscribed but I realized before I was logged in with my personal one, so now I'm gonna subscribe again from Daniel Rensch and.
Yeah, make sure you guys go subscribe to Daniel too, because here's his YouTube channel. And
by the way, the video replay of this lesson will be at the YouTube channel here within a week. So we'll do youtube.com/Daniel Rensch, and I'll put anyone who just tuned in, I'll put the full video lesson up on the YouTube channel here within the next little bit. So.
Right.
All
right,
man. Well,
I guess I'll see you this weekend.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be exciting. Good luck, and yeah, man, this is fun. I want to figure out how to get into this whole crypto analysis game, so I can be yet another person.
Yeah.
Trying to predict the unpredictable.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, have fun. I'm gonna figure out someone to. I think I'm gonna figure out someone to raid on Twitch. And I'll see you later.
No, all right. Sounds good. I'll see you this weekend.
All right, peace.
All right, bye.